Okay, well, our first guest on the Miami Marlins Hot Stove Show tonight is a new member, and I feel like we have said that with some frequency here this offseason as Peter Bendix builds out what is looking like an incredible front office in terms of the baseball operations department. The director of player development, Rachel Balkovec, joins us now on the Miami Marlins Hot Stove Show. Rachel, thank you for making some time for us, and welcome to Miami. I assume there's probably a time you probably didn't think you'd be hearing that.
I you never know what's going to happen in baseball, so I try to keep an open mind.
Let me start here, Rachel. I know people know of you. You are a trailblazer. You have done things in this game that other women have not done. Why Miami? Why stepping out of the dugout into a front office role to kind of get you to where you are right now?
Yeah, great question. I This has been kind of the plan for a while for me, and so I was a strength and conditioning coach for almost 10 years, and when I decided to leave that profession, I went back to school and got a second master's, and I kind of thought front office was going to be my path at that time, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. And then one of my mentors kind of roped me into being a hitting coach, and so took put on the pants and got in the dugout. And I mean, I've been in the dugout actually for 10, 12 years, but obviously quite a different role. So got in the dugout as a coach and then obviously a manager. But front office has always been on my mind, and player development, it has really always been on my heart since I've gotten in the game. And so this is really a perfect role for me, combining kind of my experience and my passion for developing players and specifically in the minor league system. And then to answer the Miami part of your question, I think like what's really incredible and unique really about the situation is having Peter come in and then also Gabe come in, myself and some other, key people. There's a lot of us kind of starting fresh and new. And that can be a big advantage at times where there's no preconceived notions about what it has been before or what baseball has done before. It's all kind of just a really blank slate for us personally of just kind of getting a fresh perspective on what's going on inside the organization and where it could possibly go.
Hi, Rachel. Steven Strom here. Thank you again for carving out time. What resonated other than just the fresh, clean slate with this group with Peter
Right.
Bendix?
So with Miami, I just think I'm very excited and I'm not fully educated. So I don't want to say anything that I don't want to give any opinions that are not fully formed yet. But I think what's super exciting about this team in particular is obviously the year they had last year and the run they made and the leadership from Skip has just been really fun to watch from the outside looking in. And so to be a part of that, obviously that's really looking at the major league side, but really what's going on in player development and some of the especially exciting arms that are in the system and coming up and what we're able to do with developing them. So I think specifically the system and the major league team and what kind of the excitement that's been building is definitely fun to kind of jump in and be a part of that and hopefully build on it.
I think it's important to ask you this too, Rachel. You're the director of player development. What does that mean? What do you do?
That's good. Great question. You guys may or may not know it, but there's definitely plenty of people out there that don't know it. Even great baseball fans kind of may not know the full extent of the minor league system. And so my job is really to oversee everything going in the minor league system, which is much larger than people think. So we actually have two teams that are operating fully out of the Dominican Republic, and those are our youngest Latin American international signs that start when they're age 16. And then we also have two teams operating out of our spring training complex year round. So people come to spring training and probably don't know that there's 60 plus players that are going to be training and playing there throughout the entire year. And then we also have 4 full season affiliates. So that's the things that people know. So AAA, AA, and 2 single A teams. So there's actually anywhere from 6 to 8 teams in every single minor league system, which is a lot of people and a lot of staff and coaches and things to think about. And so my job is to oversee and evaluate everything that's going on within player development, which is coaches, nutrition staff, players themselves. And so it's really just quite a few people to come together and create this incredible system and pipeline for talent to hopefully play in the big leagues for the Marlins one day.
I don't want to get too deep into this question, but when you take a job like this, are you more process oriented or are you more goal oriented where it's like by the end of however long this takes, if you can achieve this, this, and that, you've done a great job or you feel like you've done, your job well, or is it more about the process with you?
I think process has always been who I've been as a person, even in my own career and what I've done, and focusing on what I can control in that moment and focusing on the smaller goals has always been really productive for myself personally, but also in general, just with research, and understanding how humans function. For example, with a player, hey, you 16-year-old Latin American player, your goal is to make it to the big leagues. That could be 7 years from now.
Right.
That can get really easily lost and forgotten about, and you can lose motivation. But if I give you a small goal right now to accomplish, that's a part of that process, then you're going to be much more likely to see that right in front of your face and to really push for it. And so that's just really like a personal philosophy of mine and how I've applied it to my own life, but also how I see it working really well with players and staff alike. So I think process oriented is definitely where I personally would kind of, lean to.
Rachel Balkovec joining us on the Miami Marlins Hot Stove Show tonight. Rachel, you're a trailblazer in this game. It's something that you should be very, very proud of, and I'm sure you are. And I've asked some other women this that we've interviewed over the last couple of years or so, because it's very much still in its infancy, women being welcomed in baseball. And that's just the facts. And it's as bizarre as that sounds, it's still a thing. I'm curious if you were always Rachel Balkovec, the first female manager, right? Do you like that female title in front of it? Do you like being a trailblazer, or do you just want to be Rachel Balkovec, the Miami Marlins Director of Player Development?
I just there are days, where I just want to do that and not have anyone ask me about it. But there's more days where I just feel the really, really important responsibility of being, the female, whatever it was. First it was female strength coach, then it was female hitting coach, then it was female manager. And that's fine, because I know that there's still so many young girls that have never heard of me, who don't believe in themselves, who don't know that they can do something like this. And I think it is important to, in some ways, be an outward facing idea for young women. And I know it's important because I had those people for myself in different ways. And so there's also that really important responsibility that I enjoy most days, of being, the trailblazer version of myself. But there's also just the person who just goes to work every day. And sometimes it might be nice, but actually more often than not, I really appreciate and don't take that lightly.
We've got a couple of more minutes with Rachel on the Miami Marlins Hot Stove Show. Stephen, go ahead if you have something. Yeah.
Yeah, just with player development, I think it's so interesting. Like, when you get a guy, or just just anyone in general, what is that process like? Are you talking to X to now have kind of like an idea of how you're going to create or try to tailor his game to a certain way? Do you have your own process? Is it a mixture of both? I know it's, again, probably into weeds of a kind of question, but I'm just interested in just knowing that process.
No, that's where I would really rely heavily on the coaches, and so this is, I was a coach, obviously, but now I'm taking a step into a seat where I'm able to hopefully guide and assist and coach the coaches and let them do their jobs. And so the process for them is, we get a player in, we would do a list of evaluations that I won't bore you with, but we would evaluate that player using the resources that we have, and then create a development plan for that player. And that's going to look a lot different from, again, our Latin American players who are 16 in the Dominican Republic to our AA free agent sign that we get, who may have had a different background and different teaching prior to that. And so it's really all over the map, and it takes a huge team of people. And it's just something that I'm going to heavily rely on our coaches to implement really clear processes and player development plans for each guy in the system.
Rachel, I've got two more for you. And I was thinking about this. You were hired last week. Are you drinking out of a fire hose? Because I'm thinking, if somebody gave me, Santa's good and naughty list of 350 different people, I'd be like, you know what? I'm okay. It's January. Spring training is next month. 350 players. What am I supposed to do? Like, where have you begun? And I know the baseball operations staff is new. It must be like the first day of school. Like, what are you doing right now? What are your days looking like? This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the first day of school. That's a great question and a great catch, because it's late in the off season. Typically there's tons of stuff going on at winter meetings in December. There's tons of there's more time to get things done when you're hired in October. And to be honest with you, it's just part of the fun puzzle I get to solve, and I'm it'd be as if I was standing under Niagara Falls and drinking under Niagara Falls. So there's quite a few things happening right now, but there's only so many hours in the day, and I try to sleep a couple of them and just really get through everything that I can get through within that day, and try to honor the staff who've been here waiting, for leadership to come in and to get things moving. And so just really try to be there for them as much as I can. And it is late in the game, but also this is the first week of hopefully many, many, many weeks. So trying to keep that in mind as well.
And Rachel, my last question for you, I would ask you how important spring training is, but that seems too obvious, right? I mean, this is an opportunity for you to meet a lot of different people and watch. But what will spring training look like for you? Are you in a golf cart every day, sitting behind a right field fence where nobody really sees you evaluating? Are you very hands-on? I guess you won't be in uniform, I guess, as the director of player development, but like, what does the next 2 months look like for you as you get your feet wet here with this organization?
Another great question. I don't know if I'll be in uniform or not. I think that I might put on a uniform sometimes. Like you'll definitely see me
Nice.
on the field, whether that's just something as simple as shagging BP, or it's jumping in to feed a machine to help out the coaches, or whatever it is. Like, I think that you'll definitely see me on the field. And that's been really, it's been who I've been for 12 years, on field working with players. And I don't think that'll change totally,
Awesome.
but there's just different responsibilities. But I would imagine you won't see me on a golf cart hanging out, hanging back. I think I'll be in there with the guys, just really getting to know them. And even if again, something as simple as just picking up balls in the outfield and helping people out and being a part of the team.
That's awesome. Rachel, thank you so much. Welcome to Miami. I'm sure you've heard that plenty over the last 7 to 10 days. I look forward to meeting you in person and not over Zoom here. And best of luck to you. I'm super excited about what this baseball operations department looks like. There's so many new faces, different intriguing minds, and you guys have a ton of experience in the game. So congratulations to you. Thank you for the time. Best of luck moving forward, and we'll chat with you soon.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rachel.
guys. Have a great day.